All right, guys, it's been a minute since Davis and I got together for a podcast. And since we last talked, Davis and I, we have a bet. Some people have heard about this bet, meditation and reading. How many days in are we now?
It should be 19 days today. It should. If I'll check Headspace here in a second. But we started the Saturday before December start. Yeah, so 19 days. I don't even have to check. I can just do that math.
Yeah, so we can walk people back through why we did this bet. I think probably for both of us during the season, our mental health and our kind of routines just get thrown to shit as we just devote all of our time to caring about fantasy football and DFS and all of this. And the easy out, I think, Davis, would have been like, let's just start this after the playoffs.
After the season, after the playoffs, because that's what our buddy Ryan Hodge, Scott Barrett, we were in a DM thread where those guys were trying to set up a weight loss bet, and that was what they were all saying. It's okay, yeah, after football. And I was like, look, man, I can do anything after football. Like, I want to start building some healthy habits now, because what'll happen is if you and I had not been doing this, is I would have gotten to the off season and I would have read more, but it wouldn't be as much as I'm reading now. And maybe I would have meditated 3 times a week, but now I do it every day, which is what I want to be doing anyway.
And I think I would have been even more extreme. I don't think I would be meditating. I have like one Tuesday mornings, I do this online yoga class, and that has like a very meditative element to it. So that's kind of where I get my fix in. But I think I would be even more on the extreme of not. And when we say reading too, we should just establish what the bet is. So it's 30 minutes of non-internet reading. We did say, like, if you go on a walk and listen to an audiobook, that's fine.
Yeah, but the idea is no multitasking, though.
Right. No multitasking. And then to do 15 minutes of meditation every day. And this includes Sunday, which is that's
the only day it's hard for me, truly.
Yeah. It is like, so I've gotten like lax in that today I haven't done my stuff yet, and I'll probably do it around like 5. But on Sundays, I have to get up early to do it because I just don't have any time the rest of the day.
Yeah. So I'm also concurrently doing this bet with Andrew Wiggins, and he has missed 2 days thus far, and they were both Sundays, where he was able to do one or the other, but not both. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's the bet, right? Like,
so how does that work? Because that's the thing. And again, we should probably describe exactly what the bet is. So, 30 minutes of reading, 15 minutes of meditation until April 1st. And we have $500 on the line. And then it's whoever has the most days at the end. So even if I dropped or Wiggins dropped and then you dropped 2, then you would still then be back to even on your guys' bet, right?
Yeah. So for example, if let's say I missed 3 days, right? And you miss none and you beat me. Yeah, I pay you, but then Wiggins Wiggins is drawing dead. He's not going to be. Wiggins has a kid. I mean, it's a much harder bet when you have a child.
I'm trying to figure out your financial incentives here. Are they the same? Is it the same bet with Wiggins, the exact same bet?
Yeah, exact same bet. $500 with him too. So if I outlast both you guys, I miss no days. You guys each miss whatever, a couple days, then I'll be getting $1,000 on April 1st.
So what has been, I would actually say for me, the meditation has been like the easier one to schedule. And I'll sometimes even wake up and I'll just be like, you know what, I'll just do it right now. Like I'll just do it. 15 minutes seems so attainable. The reading has been a bigger block where I'm just like, shit, how am I going to carve out 30 minutes? Or I don't want to do this right now, but you just find a way.
So the meditation, I don't think is hard to block out. Yeah, I'm with you. I by the way, in our DMs, it's 10 minutes was our meditation thing. Because I just do the 10 to 13 minute headspace ones.
Okay. For some reason I just had in my head it was 15. So I've been doing the 15-minute headspace, but honestly, I don't know. I feel like the meditation goes by so fast.
I agree. I don't feel as if that's a drag. Like even in the times where it's like I'm not in a good meditative state, it's kind of like the way I think of meditating, the way I visualize it is, have you read Harry Potter?
Yeah. No, sorry.
So,
I just was like responding to it. I have not read Harry Potter.
okay, so
I've seen the movie.
anyways, there's this scene in the books and in the movies where there's this thing called a pensive, where you use the wand and you take your thoughts out of your head and you put it into this bowl of memory juice, basically. And that's kind of what I think of meditation as. Is it's kind of like a flushing clean of your brain. It's like pouring Drano through your brain for 10 to 15 minutes. And so I generally find, like, I have yet to be sitting there and been like, fuck, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm over it. I don't want to do this anymore. The reading, a couple times, it's been like 11 o'clock at night. I watched a movie, whatever. I'm exhausted. I'm like, I got to read 30 pages of Nassim Taleb. Tell me how smart he is. Like, this sounds miserable, but we've gotten it done. There's been the Monday night, I was super tired and up late, and I was reading, and I was like starting to nod off, and I was like, I had to get up and go and finish my reading on the couch, and then came back in and passed out.
Yeah. I think my issue right now is I've been doing just like nonfiction and even some dense stuff. Like started reading that book, The Wake Up, the Kerouac one, which is like a very dense, like, rendering of the early Buddha, like narrative story and all that. And I'm like, man, I think I might switch over to some fiction here just so I have some like easy kind of breezy reading sessions, because I think I've been dreading it more of like, man, this feels like work right now.
Yeah, so I am reading, when I read in the morning, I'm reading a fiction book called The Pale King, but it's literally a book like kind of about boredom. So it is a very dense read. And then at night, I'm reading The Black Swan by Nassim Taleb, which, by the way, I don't know if it's because of the bet or just because of the mind state that I'm in right now, but it is the worst of his books by far. Like, I think I read Fooled by Randomness in like 3 days, and I'm on like week 2 of reading this Nassim Taleb book, and I don't know. I mean, this one also is more heavy on the math, which might explain why it's not quite as interesting.
Yeah, I know. That was one of those things where I feel like I enjoyed reading like a chapter of his, but that is not like binge reading kind of stuff.
No, it's not. Yeah, like learning about like fractal geometries, like, is what I was reading about last night, and I was like, this is so. I would not finish reading that book, I think, if you and I were not doing this bet right now.
Yeah, I need to. I had just circled back to one because I just needed something lighter. I hadn't finished that Bill Perkins Die with Zero book, so I just circled back and finished that, and yeah, that was interesting. So I need to find another good book or two here, because I think I'm about burned out reading about Buddha and meditation right now.
Yeah, I mean that's the trick in not having it be internet reading, because like articles, like you can just like you can tell yourself like, oh, I read a lot. I'm educated. I'm well read. Like I read all these articles. Someone posts an interesting New Yorker article or an Atlantic article or whatever, but you're like also like half absorbing that stuff because you're also like checking your Twitter DMs and like listening to a podcast in the background. Like, that's certainly the spot that I find myself in. Like, I just did not read as much as I wanted to during quarantine. Basically what happened is I read a book during quarantine that I've been wanting to read for like 8 years, and it was a fucking slog to get through. And I basically have not read a book since then, which was not how I want to be spending my time.
Yeah. And because again, the spirit of the bet too is just having the no multitasking. Yeah, I'm sure, like, I've read, long articles on my phone, but I'm pop over to my email, pop over to this. So it's just like the whole point. And my favorite place to read is like in the summer, like on the beach too. And it's just like, leave your phone at home, just go. And it's like, I'm having no distractions whatsoever. And I can just like get engrossed in a book. And that's kind of what we're trying to replicate. Is like, for me personally, I'll go set my phone like at my desk and just go over into another room and just read and just know like, this is what I'm doing for these 30 minutes without distraction.
Yeah, well, I've been on the weekends, I'll do it in the morning, but then I do really like reading before bed, because one of the things you'll notice is if you're dicking around on your phone before you go to sleep, like, it'll take you longer to fall asleep. You got the blue light up in your face, your mind is more stimulated. But if you're reading, even on, I think you got one too, the Kindle Paperwhite.
Yeah, you inspired me to get one.
Isn't it badass? Like,
Yeah.
it's really nice. Yeah.
I'm actually still, I do love it. I'm having a hard time just transitioning over because I do really enjoy like reading,
Holding a book.
but for like the bedtime reading and not having to worry about lights and stuff, it's awesome.
It's yeah, which is why I got the Kindle Paperwhite in the first place. So I'm making no money. Got to get an affiliate deal with Amazon for Kindle Paperwhites, but it's huge because it doesn't give you the blue light before you go to sleep, and you can just read. Like, it's much easier for me to fall asleep and get better quality sleep if I am just reading and not on my phone, which ties in to my bet with Kitchen too, because one of the things he's complained about is because he's got, I don't know if he has 2 or 3 kids, but he's got kids, he's got a family and stuff. So his sleep schedule compared to mine for the weight loss bet is way worse. And I know myself, if I'm not getting good sleep, I'm like way more likely to just be like, oh, fuck it, I'm not cooking dinner. Like, I'm going to eat something terrible.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of it too.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why this bet was like super appealing to me is because in previous years, and I know you're doing stuff year round and work, and you're plugged in, but like for me, like I was doing, football pretty much exclusively. So I would take like a good break in like March through May and just like decompress. Normally Lauren and I go on a trip, like I get settled into my routine, but because of the pandemic, we lost all of that like downtime this year. And we were just all extremely online from like
literally so online,
like literally waking up at 7 a.m. to watch League of Legends matches. And I was like, I didn't get the mental health break and the reset that I normally get. And I was like, I don't want to wait again and just hope. Like we will probably still be like locked down in March and stuff. I was like, I need to start establishing habits now, because the truth is we're just going to be extremely online and we have to like figure out how to balance it. Because I'm more of an extremist. I like going like I'm either extremely online or completely
100%.
unplugged. So I'm like, can we actually balance this now?
Yeah, like that you're 100% right. Like basically, I think there was kind of this mentality where like, oh, let's see where we are in 2 weeks, and then like you just keep kicking that can down the road, and then you're like, shit. For me, it's like I haven't been to the gym in 3 months. All I do is go walk my dogs, and I'm ordering Postmates all the time, and I'm not reading. I'm watching League of Legends. I'm grinding, Danish soccer slates on DraftKings, like. Because also what you're looking for is you're looking for that serotonin drip. You're looking for that dopamine hit of fantasy sports. And you have to, like, I remember I was waking up at 3:00 in the morning to check Australian soccer lineups, just like all sorts of ways of living that were not healthy.
Yeah. And that's also an interesting thing too. Like I don't even remember the last time I was bored. Like, I don't even know what boredom is. Like, I just there's stimulus every single play. I have a million things to read, a million things to watch, a million things to listen to. You can exercise, you can read, I can cook, I can spend time. I'm like, it's impossible for me to be bored.
That's so like there could be 100-hour days. And I can't imagine getting to everything that I would want to do. Like there's just so much. There's 900 great movies to watch that I haven't seen. There's TV shows on, I mean, how many streaming services are there now? I saw the other day that Paramount has their own streaming service. Like everyone has their own streaming service. You could find anything you love to watch. There are an infinite number of books I would like to read. I could learn CSGO, daily fantasy. Like they just, I can't imagine being bored. It feels absurd to even say out loud. Like, oh, I'm bored. Like, you're bored of what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then the other thing that I struggle with too are like having these like bigger projects that you want to work on. And sure, if you were really dedicated and disciplined, you could carve out 30 minutes a day to work on this. Or say you wanted to learn how to model or do better projections. I like spend 30 days watching Excel classes or learn, like I could theoretically do that. But like when we're doing so much stuff, it's really hard to carve out time. And that's why I also really appreciate the off season of like, oh, I can dig into some of these other projects. But again, I just don't think that time is coming. Like we're just now so extremely plugged in that it's like, you have to do this stuff on the fly.
Yeah. One of the things I've been kicking around forever has been doing a book, right? So a fiction book was one of the things I toyed around with during quarantine, but as we just talked about, we weren't we weren't as free as we thought. We had more things. We almost had more things distracting us than ever during that time frame. And then now the idea of like a nonfiction book seems pretty appealing of some sort. I was talking about it with Colin Drew the other day, and he gave me the idea of doing like this like 70 things I learned from hosting the Take Cast and like going through some of the episodes and taking points from them. But it's like, yeah, I could start working on that now. There are like I could work on it while I'm on the exercise bike or something like that. But it's like, also like I kind of just want to not be working. Like I kind of want to not be productive. Like there was this big thing during everyone being inside their houses is and this is just a very American thing of like trying to always make your time profitable. Like everything needs to be content, everything needs to be productive. And sometimes I want to have non-productive time. Like sometimes I just want to be a vegetable.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I don't know, I feel like the stuff we do, kind of that stuff can blur, right? Like sometimes I'm like, am I doing DFS research or, studying because it's going to end up helping me with content or because I actually just enjoy doing this? I don't even know at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I really like my job. Like I feel lucky. Like I think that if I was, I don't know. What would my real life job be? If I was a salesman in some office, I don't know. I sold, what does people sell? What's a real job, Pete? I don't know.
Well, I do marketing for a software company.
So if I was a marketer for a software company, I think I would still do a lot of what I do anyways. Yeah. It just wouldn't be as part of my job. So I guess that is nice.
Well, I was asking Pat last night because we've been talking about his stat chasing video and like we get some comments, it's like really good informational stuff. Like it helps content creators, especially too, but like we're having a hard time packaging it. I don't think people realize what it is. 2.5 hours is long. And I asked him, I was like, would you be doing this just like on your own, this research? And he's like, yeah, at this point, like for my DFS play and everything, I would just be doing it. I'm like, okay, that actually makes me feel better because it's like, you're going to be doing this regardless. But we still want to package it and market it in a way that it gets it out to people.
Yeah, I think, you guys should just be charging people for stat chasing though. Can't give it away for free. You gotta start a Substack or a Patreon or something for it.
The thing that I think is tough is, it is a great companion piece to Gretch's stealing signals, except like for me, like when I start working, like I pull in the salaries into my spreadsheet and I have my notes, like it's easier for me to go through written text and I can like 100%. Copy over like snap counts and stuff. Pat's I'll listen to, like I listened to stat chasing while I was out snow blowing, today. And so it's just like, it's figuring out who are the type of people that would pay for it and how would they actually like it to consume it, I
prefer to consume things via podcast myself because I spend so much time of my day at the computer anyway. So I like to have things like I really like like I probably click through Gretch's stuff. Like I'll open it and I'll skim it, but I probably spend more time engaging with stat chasing than I do with stealing signals. Now I am more likely to like Command F steal signals if I like need to know something or like I'm looking or I'm tweaking the projections at Daily Roto or I'm like looking at a start sit thing. Like I'll go to Gretch's Substack and Command F for Tyron Johnson or DeAndre Swift or whoever. But like in terms of like sitting down and engaging with the whole thing, like I'll put on stat chasing when I go walk the dogs, while I'm cooking dinner, while I'm playing video games, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things we have to crack. We've had like a weird, stuff like ShipChasing used to just be just chronicling our teams, literally just talking about this year. We kind of did the waiver show, more guests, more live. Like it became this new thing. Pat started doing these data intensive shows. So I feel like ShipChasing kind of has an identity crisis right now that we're trying to figure out. But it's been a great year for the show.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't listened the last week. Do you have any teams did you win any of your leagues? Like any of your individual ones?
Yeah, so we had our one. We were in 3 main events, 2 that it was just me and Pat, and then the one with Crack Rock. The team with Crack Rock, first in record, first in points, and we're 12th overall right now, which is pretty sick. And then
cranking it purple.
Yeah, so it's funny too because that team has Hawkinson. Hawkinson has been one of the one guys you needed if you didn't have Kelsey to still be like hanging around up there. And then, Pat and I finished in our slow main, that team we drafted back in July. We ended up first in points in our league and ended up getting second in the final. So you get we ended up getting like the main event seat for getting second. And then we ended up getting like 2,500 for finishing first in points. So still ends up being a profitable year for us, which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been brutal to not end up being profitable this year. So my team with Silva and Thorman and Reeves, we finished first in record. And honestly, I don't remember if we finished first in points as well, but we lost in the final. So we got same as you guys. And then now we're live in the overall, but not that live. But it's kind of sick though. We have Russ, Metcalf, Derrick Henry, and Austin Eckler. So like there's a chance that we can run off an insane number of points the next 2 weeks. But the bottom half of our roster is like the shittiest of shit bums. Like we might be starting Jalen Reagor or Denzel Mims this week, like in a very important week for our team.
Just complete prayer yards lineup.
Literally, like, and also another sick thing is on that team, we drafted Logan Thomas, who's like the tight end 6 in tight end premium scoring right now. And we never started him and cut him. And so we've been rotating between Noah Fant and Irv Smith Jr. all year. Brutal.
And I hate to tell it to you, but with that Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry combo, you are duped. You are duped by our Crack Rock team.
Oh no! Please don't dupe me, bro.
It's actually interesting looking at the top teams, like in the top 25. Obviously, there's a decent amount of Derrick Henry, but no one else had that combo, the Henry Eckler combo, which looks pretty nasty right now.
Yeah, that's classic. It's one big, one small. That's what you want.
The big dog and the little dog.
How are you feeling about the fact that people are going to get there with Leonard Fournette this week? Leonard Fournette is going to be the talk of the town, the DFS chalk, and our friends at the fantasy underworld are going to get to take their victory laps.
The 4,500 on DraftKings is going to be what, like 35%. It still cracks me up to go from a healthy scratch to the chalk
to DFS chalk. Yeah, this is like this would be like LaShawn McCoy last year, where he had the 2 touchdown game against the Lions after being a healthy scratch.
Yeah. We will see how that goes down. It's a bummer. I mean, Rojo's going to have a fast finish there too. So I don't know.
Poor guy with his broken thumb. So have you been doing intermittent fasting, or are you a breakfast guy now?
No, I will say maybe like once every 2 to 3 weeks, I'll just randomly wake up and be super hungry in the morning and I'll eat. But it's like so embedded into it's not even like a conscious decision of like, oh man, I need to wait. It's just like my body gets hungry at 2 p.m. and that's when I eat. In general, I actually have to force myself. Like when we're doing the Swolecast and I'm trying to eat before that, because I know if I don't eat before that and I eat at 3:30 or 4, well, then I'm not hungry for dinner. Then I'm eating like a late night snack and it throws off my whole thing. So like I really try to eat around 2 and 6. And I have exceptions. Like today, I shoveled snow for 2 hours and I came in and ate lunch at 12:30 because I was starving after shoveling. But yeah, for the most part, it's just it's second nature at this point. Yeah,
I gotta say, I'm just hungry all the time, all the time, dude. Just like I wake up hungry. From like 11 to 12, I'm just like okay, what are you gonna have for lunch, dude? Like, what are you gonna make?
Do you do coffee?
Yeah, black coffee, coffee and green tea.
Yeah, because I was gonna say coffee is definitely what like makes it so much easier. It's like an appetite suppressant. It just gives you something to like put in your mouth and kind of just help you bide your time. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean Yeah, it's an appetite suppressant. It just gets you it gives you some of like that fake energy, like you're feeling the caffeine, as opposed to getting energy from like protein or whatever. I guess the whole idea of intermittent fasting is to have your body burning fat as opposed to, I don't know, I guess using the fat in your body as opposed to the calories that it has available via food.
Yeah, every time you eat, your insulin spikes and your body is burning the carbohydrates, and then once it uses all those up, then it converts over and starts burning the fat stores. So once you get past that like 14 or 15 hours of last time you ate, then your body starts kicking in. But I even think too, like I've started to now even see more science around it where it's like more mixed. I truly do think like the biggest benefit is just eliminating the other amounts of times you can make mistakes. Like if you're snacking all the time, your portion control like might not be as tight as you think. It's just easier to eat more the more times.
Yeah, I mean, you just are cutting out 400 calories for breakfast. Like that's it.
Yeah, and I mean, I do think I do believe, especially with some of the longer term fasts, like once you go over 3 days, kind of like the science there is like pretty impactful as far as how it can affect people with the rejuvenation of the cells. And there's lots of longevity benefits. But yeah, just like the intermittent fasting, I think it just helps mostly for you to stay really disciplined, because like you see the guys that are shredded, that they eat 7 meals a day, but they literally have each one in a Tupperware container because they're not
with their macronutrients weighed out.
So it is ultimately just a math problem. And I just think it's nice to, if I snacked all the time, it'd be tempting to eat more calories than you realized you were eating.
Yeah. So this is if we can just be indulgent and make the show about me now. So I have this weight loss bet with Kitchen, same amount, $500. I will say though, losing to Kitchen and having to send him money, like in my head, this is like a $25,000 bet. Like losing to Dave, it is the worst. I really do hate it. So this has been my thing. 7 days a week, 60 minutes of cardio on the recumbent bike. I get about a 400 to 500 calorie burn on there, depending on how hard I go. Like on Sunday, I'm sitting there sweating games, and I'm kind of just hanging out. So I'll get like a 400 calorie burn in. But on like a Tuesday, if I'm pretty focused, I can crank the resistance up and get it up higher. Then 4 days a week, I'll do some kind of hit workout with, I got bands, I got kettlebells. I have all of that. And I have to say my early returns from that is like, holy shit, I'm out of shape because I'm doing these workouts from the Nike training app and I'm like, just, following them and 50 seconds of diamond push-ups, which is like, and I'm rolling over after I'm done, like breathing like a stuck pig. It's so hard. Yeah. And then like, it's very, very difficult though. I mean, I feel better now than I did 2 weeks ago, obviously.
Yeah. And that's the only thing of why sometimes like just doing too much cardio can be bad, because you work up such an appetite too. Like around here, we get all kinds of people training for the Boston Marathon and stuff. And I've heard so many stories of like people that are like, literally running 13, 14 miles a day during stretches and not losing any weight because they're just carbo loading and constantly in need of fuel because they're burning so much. And you're trying to find that equilibrium of like, and it also depends on what your goals are. Like, are you trying to put on muscle mass, or are you just trying to lose weight? But I do think in general, that can be a trap sometimes of doing too much cardio. Is like, shit, you're just going to be more hungry.
Well, my thing is I'm eating no carbohydrates. I no rice, no bread, no nothing. Well, I guess that's not true. I'm eating simple carbohydrates from fruit. Because I'm eating some apples and some bananas and shit like that. But just no. So like, and from what I've read and what I've figured out, it's like that's just because it's a horrible calorie to nutrition ratio. Like, because the reason we need to eat is because we need nutrients and energy to survive, and bread and grains are like the worst calorie to nutrient ratio. So I'm mostly eating steaks, chicken, heavily seasoned with a lot of hot sauce, eggs, shit like that. A lot of stir fry. Because another thing is vegetables are like elite nutrient to calorie ratio. It's like you can eat a head of broccoli and that's like 110 calories, but it has like all the essential nutrients you need for like the week.
Yeah. Have you been doing, do you do lots of avocados? That was always my cheat code for making me feel more full.
Disgusting.
You
No,
don't like avocados?
no, I find them really gross. My cheat code is I chug a glass of water every time before I eat and chug a glass of water whenever I'm done eating. And then also I've been taking MCT oil, which I figured you were going to know. I bet Dave, by the way, has also figured this out as part of our bet he's gotten there. But basically it's used by people who are trying to lose weight. I mean, and athletes too, but it releases the peptide that makes you feel more full. So you take it when you eat and it makes you feel more full.
Yeah. No, the drinking the water before is always good. One other thing I would do, I always have just like a bunch of cashews on hand and just popping a little bit, like 20 minutes before you're about to eat.
It satiates you a little.
Yeah. Whereas because I don't know about you, I'm a fast eater. Like Lauren and her family, they like roast me all the time because I just like eat.
Buddy, we've been out to dinner together. I was there. We did it.
You saw it. So that's an issue when you're eating so fast that your stomach hasn't even caught up to realizing you're full. Or your brain hasn't. So that's why if like you trick yourself and you're like, okay, I don't need as much. I found that helpful.
Yeah, I mean, we have almonds and stuff around, but I do it after I'm done eating, or if I find I'm not satiated, I'll give myself 5 minutes. I'll make a green tea. I'll eat a handful of almonds. And then what I've been doing for fake dessert is a banana with like organic almond butter.
Yeah. The banana with peanut butter, I've definitely gone that route. My issue this season, like my food stuff is normally like pretty dialed in. I'm definitely like eating probably more carbs in general, but like I'm fine there. It's just I've been drinking so much because of doing shows, and I just love having a few drinks.
It's the Pavlovian response, dude.
And it's like I used to, before I started just being online 24/7, like I wouldn't drink during the week, and I'd drink maybe one night on like a Friday or Saturday night, and that was it. And now I'm a social drinker if I'm hanging out with friends, and I'm like, well, now I'm socializing online literally every day. Like if we were doing this 3 or 4 hours later, I'd be like, yeah, you probably have a drink while I talk to Davis here on the show. So that's been my thing, is like I need to start putting in some guardrails. I probably need like an alcohol bet to help me get good there.
I was trying to think of who you could do an alcohol bet. Maybe TJ. I don't know, but he probably wouldn't want to. He's too rich to even care.
That reminds me, and speaking like is for Wiggins in that bet, like
it's not enough money for him.
I was gonna say it's not enough money, and now that he knows he's behind, like he basically has zero incentive to now stick with it.
Well, I mean, he's only missed 2 days in 19 days. Like, I mean, I think I'm a pretty big favorite to do every single day because
you have the same bet twice too.
I have the same bet twice, but also like it's just that's the type of person I am. Is I'm motivated by spite and competition more so than anything else. Which is like if I'm going to do something to better myself, like it's sad, but like I'm certainly more motivated by a bet than I am by like just improving myself. Which I don't know, says a lot about the way my brain is structured. But I'm sure I'll miss a day or two. I feel like I got to be like minus 200 to miss at least 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, I feel good about like my routine, and I have good. It's just I do worry about like a curveball day, like I don't know, Lauren gets a flat tire, and you got like just the thing that just throws everything out of whack. And then I do realize at like 11:30, and I'm just like I can't read right now. I need to go to bed. Like I'm sure I have one of those days in me, but I think I should be like this stretch will be the hardest stretch. Like even once we get to January, things will get a little.
No, the hardest stretch is about to hit us where we have NFL games on Saturday for the next 3 weeks. Then we have Christmas, New Year's Eve. Like those are going to be days because you can't rest like on on New Year's Eve, you can't rescue yourself at 10 o'clock if you didn't make time earlier in the day. Like you're gonna have to be doing something, most likely. So yeah, it's definitely one of those spots.
It is but I mean, then one of the things that makes it easier is just we're not hanging out with anyone. We're like very rarely leaving our house. Like,
right.
I probably had way more, things I was doing, people I was seeing, to where it would have been much tougher to fit it in. Where now I'm like, I think about New Year's Day, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna be here. Like, I mean, it's like there's gonna be.
It's not like I'm going anywhere, but you'll have to be on a fucking Zoom call or some shit, something very dystopian.
It is so weird. Like we did. So like Lauren and I met when we studied abroad. And so we're still close friends with the people we studied abroad with. And we did like a Zoom call with them the other night. And I hadn't done one like that. Again, obviously we do calls all the time for sure.
Yeah, but just a social one though.
Yeah. And it was like, I love seeing those guys, but it's like after 30 minutes, it's like, man, this is just it's so painful with so many people on there. It's just like, it's awkward. And I had flashbacks back to March when we were doing them all the time. And it was just like, oh man, I forgot how much I hated these Zoom calls.
Yeah, I think the max on a Zoom call should be like 6.
Yeah.
That seems about right. We have this RG holiday poker party coming up on Friday. I don't know about that. I don't know about getting on a Zoom call with 900 other people.
Yeah, well, I think they're doing them as like breakout rooms. So I think you'll be at like with a room of like 7 or 8 people at your table is how they're doing it.
Yeah, very, very excited for the cards. I missed the DFS Poker Open. That was the height of quarantine.
That was really fun. That whole that first one was just the hype. We had the live stream going. We had the bounties. It also was like the first like morale booster. Where like we were losing all these sports and we're all like, holy shit, our lives are just like changing in front of our eyes. But like, you know what? Let's just all get together and play a big poker tournament. And it was great.
It was, yeah. I mean, you kind of miss that because now you kind of have this dynamic where like half of the people are like, dude, I go to work every day. Like it's sports are on TV. Like it certainly, there's not that element of we're all going through this together because everyone's having their own disparate experiences with the coronavirus in the United States now.
Well, I got to ask you, I asked Brian this last night when we were doing LOLz. How many times a day are you checking the price of Bitcoin right now?
15.
I think yesterday I said I was at like 7 or 8. And I think today I'll definitely trend toward 15.
We're just now at the point of where I start just being like, well, I should probably just take my money out of DraftKings and just put it in Bitcoin for a while.
I know it is so stupid. Like, I'm just like, why do I have the money on
yeah, like I've got $25,000 in my DraftKings account, and it'd be $100K if I just take it out and put it in Coinbase. Like it is really stupid.
My favorite thing to look at is like on like Gemini, it shows you like the percentage that your portfolio is up over like certain time periods. And it is just like wild to me. So over a year right now, it's up 273%.
Tulips, kid.
Man. Speaking of tulips, and I've now seen this conversation starting to get floated with kind of the sports card kind of craze.
That is tulips.
That's what I'm starting to worry and think. It feels way more tulipy than Bitcoin.
Well, it's just like, to me, I guess like I think sports cards are really cool and I get it. I feel like maybe there's like a liquidity problem there though, because like, let's say I have, I put 100K into like a bunch of, like, let's say I go all in on Justin Herbert. Like really not, I think Prism is the top. I'm not the right person to say the exact ones, but like the best available Justin Herbert rookie cards. And I go all in on him and he fucking crushes next year, like wins MVP. The Chargers win 12 games. He's insane. So then they're worth $500,000 or my 100K goes to $1 million. But then we have a stock market crash, like a 2008-ish crash. Where's my liquidity coming from? Where do I cash in my Herbert cards for $1 million? Like I'm worried that the market of competitive buying really dries up in a way that I don't think it would happen for Bitcoin, but maybe that's wrong.
Yeah, and I get where I am completely out over my skis is I don't understand, the grading systems, the
Same.
type of, I don't understand like how people verify the scarcity of like how many of these kind of cards were made and what makes that valuable. The thing that is appealing to me is the idea of using it as like a proxy for the player stock market in the same way we try to get a guy in Dynasty. It's like, if you're buying low on Dynasty, well, might as well get an Eno Benjamin sport card as well, right? Like that kind of concept of just trying to.
So that really appeals to me too. But Leone has told me basically it doesn't work like that, except for the quarterbacks. If you bought like 900 highly graded Eno Benjamin cards and he turned out to be good, you would make like no profit. But at the beginning of all this, that was super interesting to me. Is like, oh, I'll go all in on Visca rookie cards. Like I want all the sick Visca rookie cards. And he was like, Visca could be Randy Moss and it just wouldn't really matter.
That's interesting. My Eno Benjamin poll isn't just a random name. I have this guy, Nick, who sent me a nice message and he says, Pete, I have a rookie signed Eno Benjamin card from when they played SC a few years back. Have 3 of them. I'm going to send you one. And so that's Eno Benjamin. My sports card portfolio is going to be Patrick Laird, Laviska Shenault, and Eno Benjamin. I mean, what better? Kind of
that's pretty good brands, dude. We gotta this off season. I gotta try and badger the Jaguars PR people to get Laviska on the show,
dude. And the Jaguars PR people are cool because they did that whole thing with the Good Place because they had the like Blake Bortles
the
jokes.
Bortles stuff, yeah.
And like Joe Mandy, who's a really funny comedian and a writer on the show, they like flew him and one of the other actors from the Good Place and like did the tour of the stadium and like took over their social media account for the game and stuff. I mean, I still think we had talked about this with Pat, the Florida content road trip, Visca, Rojo, Laird.
It would be so beautiful. That would be so fun.
It'd be so fun. I'm still like, that's one of the things, like thinking back on all the things we met and like, I'm like all those, like we would have gone to a game this year. There's so many fun things we would have done. It's devastating.
It is devastating. I mean, the Dolphins are incredible this year. There are so many games we could have gone to the Chiefs game. Maybe not. I mean, that Laird played 42 snaps in that game, so that would have been nice.
People forget that Laird led the team in snaps last week.
They do. I mean, they do forget it. Yeah.
And Chad Hansen's crushing. I mean, everything's coming up for these Cowboys.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, it would have been also great to golf with Laird. That was something I was really looking forward to, and missing out on that is a bummer. Yeah,
I know. Yeah. During the off season, we would send each other our cards, our scorecards from the rounds. And, we'll get there. Maybe by the end of the summer we can pull off a golfing.
Man, my game is going to be terrible. It was in a really good spot this summer. I was playing the best I'd ever played, and it's going to be. I haven't hit in 2 months probably. It's going to be brutal. I
know, and now we got these guys with their simulators, their driving range stuff. I'm like, man, I'm falling behind. I'm getting outworked by these year-long golfers.
God, dude, I would love to have that would be like a How Rich moment. Like,
how much do those run?
Oh, they gotta be, let's see. What do we think a high-end golf simulator costs? What's your guess?
I would just guess like the software and the hardware itself is like $5,000, and then you need like other like set pieces for it.
The first one I see is $26,000.
Okay, so that is a How Rich thing. Okay,
but like imagine just being like, yeah, I'm fucking flexing. I had a goddamn golf simulator in my basement.
well, that was like, did you see Pete Jennings' wife at, they bought a new house, and she's like, I bought, new couch, new coffee tables, whatever. And Pete has bought a ping pong table and a sauna. Are his contributions to the new place so far.
I mean, let's see us UBC is that's a good partnership. Her Twitter account is incredible. She's so funny. Yeah.
And like, I did a tweet once and I still stand by it where I was like, I thank the Lord that Lauren is not on Twitter like dunking on me all day. It was like, it would be really bad.
No one wants that. Yeah. And no one wants their significant other talking shit about them on Twitter. Like tough spot for the Ram.
And she's so good too, because like she doesn't take shit from anyone. She like battles back against anyone, just dunks on people. It's great. That is when I saw the sauna. I don't know if you ever got into it, but like the sauna was a huge part of my like routine before quarantine hit. Like I would do it probably 3 to 4 times a week, and it crushes me not to have it.
No, I haven't had. I used to go to this very, very how rich gym we had a Lifetime Fitness in Kansas City that I used to go to. I miss it every day, but I haven't had a gym with a sauna in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
My gym that I went to here is shutting down. It's shuttering its doors. No one went. Tough scenes.
Yeah, I think the thing about the sauna, it was like 2-pronged. Like again, one, there are definite health benefits to it, but also it felt like a reward. It's like, oh, if I go work out, like I can go enjoy this like 20 minutes in the sauna, relaxing, and then a cold shower. Like it like helped trick you. It was like, oh, if I do this, I get this prize, I get this reward. Whereas now, like you're trying to get in a workout like in your house or something. And you're like, all right, I'm just gonna go shower. Like there's not that extra added motivation you can trick yourself with.
Well, I work out before dinner, so that's the carrot. Is that I go get a workout in, and I'm like, yo, if you get an extra every extra rep, every extra set is like you can eat more. You can eat more fucking broccoli, you fatty.
So are you guys doing any check-ins on how close it is, or are you just doing the reveal at the end?
Well, Kitchen has been needling me in our chat about.
That doesn't sound like Kitchen.
He's like, oh, I'm down 15 pounds. I'm down 20 pounds. And then he'll like screenshot like the cookies that he ordered. I think that this is where it's at with Kitchen right now. He's for sure ahead right now. He for sure hustled me, but he underestimated how willing I'm how hard I'm willing to hustle to beat him in a bet.
So, well, the other thing I think you have going in your favor is I feel like it'll be easier for you to be more disciplined at the holidays than him.
100. I mean, I told we're trying to set it up so that we can have Christmas dinner with my girlfriend's family. So we're all getting our COVID tests and quarantining up and everything so that we can all try, because we didn't do that on Thanksgiving. And I told them, I was like, I will eat Christmas dinner. I'll eat honey baked ham and pie and shit.
You do a cheat day on a diet. That's fine.
Yeah. Like that's good. Like that's going to be my day. But from then until April 1st.
Yeah.
No cheat
days.
The
stuff with even the cheat days too is like, it's even fine to like shock your system with that stuff. I mean, the biggest pitfall of a cheat day is if it throws you off your normal routine. But if you keep on your normal routine, a cheat day is fine.
Yeah. I mean, I think I can house like 3,500 calories in a day and just be like, all right, man, that you did it. That's good for you. I don't know. Like, I kind of just have these thoughts of like, at what point, like what can your body even accept? Like if you go from eating 1,200 calories a day to eating, honey baked ham and pecan pie and cookies and shit, like I don't even know how my body's going to react. Again, I feel like it's just going to be shook. It's not going to know how to handle the sugar.
Yeah. I'm not sure how that, I mean, well, first of all, you'll probably crash and get very tired and sluggish because your body starts getting acclimated to working on a certain fuel. And then you're like, JK.
Yeah, no, for sure. So also I wonder, just like, are you feeling much cleaner mentally right now? Cause like, I'm having this experience where and I bet you do this too, where you have all these things in your mind, like, oh yeah, I'm going to drink a gallon of water. I'm going to take all my vitamins. I'm going to read. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to eat clean. And now I'm just doing them all at once. I'm taking vitamin C and fish oil and a multivitamin, and I'm drinking water, and I'm exercising an hour and a half a day, and I'm reading, and I'm meditating, and I'm not eating any sugar. And like, I just feel like I have like unlimited energy, and like I just feel very mentally clear.
Yeah, and like I think there's a few things to that. One is, and I mean, we read Atomic Habits, and he talks about that concept of habit stacking, and like those things like fuel into each other. Like I know the times where I get really good workouts in, I don't want to come home and eat like a hamburger and fries. Like I'm craving something good. Like I want to continue that momentum. So I think the fact that you're stacking those things, it really helps you snowball in there. And I definitely see the mental benefits. I think the thing that I actually wanted to circle back to this on the meditation is I want to force myself to do like a long one. Like, I don't think I've ever meditated for longer than like 20 or 25 minutes. And like what happens to me, even with the 15 minutes is like, I spend a lot, like the first half of it, like just clearing out like all the mind
closing down. Yeah.
And then it's like right when I start to like finally get to where I can kind of really, nudge away all the distractions, then it's like, well, you can let go of focus. You're done, Peter. And so I'm like, that's that idea of really being able to clear your brain, because there's the two elements, right? It's like getting out that stuff. And then it's like, you almost want another session to then take advantage of the brain dump being clear, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I have meditated for up to an hour before, but in a Buddhist, I mean, it wasn't a temple, it was in Kansas. So it was just a building. But yeah, had that same experience where it went from being like, oh yeah, I'm here, I'm meditating, I'm trying to clear my head, to like actually achieving like a more meditative stance for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like, I've heard Naval talk about it too, about kind of those longer. And
are you a Naval guy?
I wouldn't say I'm a Naval guy, but I've definitely I've listened to his like Tim Ferris podcast experience.
See, like that, all that stuff, Tim Ferris, Naval, like that is
that's basically what we're doing right now, Davis.
I know, I get it. And like I wonder, I was talking about this with Drew and Leone the other day. I like have a real distaste for that stuff. And Drew was like, what do you think your fucking podcast is, kid? But I don't know. I don't love for me, it's like if Buddhism and LinkedIn had a baby, is like that stuff. And it's kind of distasteful to me. I don't know why.
I wonder if there's an element to it of, there are these guys like Naval and Tim Ferris who are just massively successful, massively wealthy.
Yeah, and just being like, you can do it too if you just meditate.
Right, and telling you like, it's so easy to be stoic and zen, but it's also a lot easier to do that when you don't have responsibility and you have millions of dollars in the bank.
Yeah, pretty easy to just be like, yeah, dude, you just got to let the good ideas come and don't care about X, Y, and Z. And like, it's just that, I think that is what I find distasteful about it, is just telling people how easy life can be while not facing any difficulties yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, we're some, much watered down version of that too, of like, there's other people that could be listening to us talk and be like, oh, how fortunate that you can do $500 on a bet to like motivate you on that. So I think the thing for me, what I will agree on, like just kind of like the aura and the mysticism, like I kind of reject that as well. But I do feel like you get lots of good kernels of information and things that you can apply to your own stuff, just like the ideas. And same with reading Atomic Habits and anything that's like self-help. It's like, you're not buying into like the mysticism surrounding it, but it's like, what can I pull? Like I legitimately implemented a few habit stacking things that like really helped me out, like in a big way. And that was like an actionable thing I was able to take.
Yeah, I think that is a good point, is to take very few things in life at face value and to take from most things what you can get from them, what can help you in a positive way, because, obviously fanaticism and following anything to the T for the most part is probably bad. So yeah, and like I said, it's more about me and shit that I believe and think that makes me like, I just see Naval tweets and just roll my eyes, but like, honestly, it's me, it's not him.
Well, and there's also an element, and LOLz is like the Naval of DFS.
He is, but I love LOLz. Like I love LOLz so much that I can't even bring myself to think that.
Well, and part of why I think the Naval and the Ferris and the Bales thing is like inspiring is because it does work in this like aspirational way too, of like all of us would love certain aspects of Bales's life, you know, and what he's been able to achieve, how he does it, how he's able to articulate it. And so I think there is that kind of like wish fulfillment element of it too. When you consume that, like people want to be an angel investor like Naval and also be all zen and shit because you're a million. People want to be bidding on a, you know, Hugh, whatever the guy's card was.
Honus Wagner.
Honus Wagner. So yeah, I do think there's definitely a role for that. And I think that when you read Bale's posts and stuff, you get ideas and you feel inspired, or you want to rethink how
you are right that it's very aspirational. Like I'm seeing that now. Like people are like, yeah, like this guy really has his shit together in a way, or like his brain works in such a way that I wish mine did too.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, you know, I thumb through, I haven't like read the whole thing, but the like Tim Ferriss book, like Tools of Titans, was actually circles back to what you were kind of talking about, the take cast that you could do of pull out highlights.
It's basically the same idea. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's cool because you go through, and I like reading like, oh, what is Arnold Schwarzenegger's morning routine? Or, you know, what is whoever's, you know, favorite books, you know, like that kind of stuff is actually like actionable and not super fluffy.
Well, cards on the table, I didn't know who Tim Ferriss was until like 2 days ago. Drew had to explain to me who he was. I thought he was Dave Ramsey. I thought Tim Ferriss and Dave Ramsey were the same person.
That's really funny.
Dave Ramsey's the like save all your money guy, and Tim Ferriss is the angel investor guy.
I probably listen to like one out of every 20 Tim Ferriss podcasts, like cherry pick them. But there is like, he has some really good evergreen ones. And even though you're up and hip on Bitcoin, like his one with Naval and Nick Szabo, that was just like an explainer of Bitcoin. It was like one of the smartest, like it was just highbrow enough that I'm like really having to like pause and digest it, but still digestible enough that it's not too technical and going
too technical.
Yeah. So that I think he definitely has some good stuff, but he has that same thing where he can be a little off-putting with his kind of condescension and stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't know. Drew really likes him. So that's all that I could take away from that.
Oh man, how good were those Bales photoshops?
The Levitan one I've been waiting for Drew to be publicly called out by somebody for not owning any Bitcoin, and I was like, this is the time. Like, Bales, you got to do it from the top rope, kid.
The best part was his caption, still waiting for some more data. Oh my goodness.
Okay, this is a good. Someone asked me this the other day. At what price would you consider selling some of your Bitcoin?
I was literally just talking with Lauren about this earlier, and I still think I'm not going to sell.
My price was $200,000. I would think about selling some because and I've said this before on podcasts 100 times. No one gives a shit. But like, it's not going to. I mean, literally, even. What would having $100,000 extra do for my life? Like I guess I buy a house, but I already live in a house. So
no, but can't you use that argument in the other direction of why you wouldn't take money out too?
What do you mean?
Like if that's saying like taking, you know, are you saying that if Bitcoin like moons and you like pull out like 50,000 at some point that your life isn't going to change, and it's like, well, then just also keep it in.
Because I basically think my life would be the same from now until if I was making like $2 million a year. Like I would say, like, sure, maybe I buy a nicer car, maybe I live in a slightly larger house. But those aren't really things that change my life. I guess maybe you could take a couple extra vacations, but like I can take vacation now. You know, I mean, I can't take a 2-week vacation to a private island and shit. But like for the most part, in terms of like your day-to-day life, I don't think my life would change that much. So I just am not really incentivized by the market to sell my Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, we go back to the Bales post definitely was the one that made me start to rethink it more about at what point it becomes such an outsized portion of your entire net worth that it's just like actually irresponsible to have that.
Well, every day it becomes more of my net worth than I ever intended because it keeps going up. Like it started out being a rational chunk and it grows faster than anything else I own.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's something I'm going to continue to keep thinking about. Right now, I feel like I'm a ways away from that. And again, it's also, there's the tax implications of it.
Selling is just asking myself to get taxed, and I really just don't want to do that.
Yeah. And like, to me too, it also feels like it's not like an ideological thing for me, but it does in some way feel like,
oh, it is for me. It is for me.
No. I mean, ideological in that, like, if I take some out, it's like the thesis of the investment, like, hasn't changed, and it's always been like a super long-term play. Like, I'm not a stock market trader. I don't know how to time the market. Like, I know
no one does.
Right. So what's the only thing I can do? Take emotions out of it and just, treat it like my 401k.
Yeah, the thesis behind the play has been the same for the last 11 years.
Right. And I'm not like trying to take money out of my 401k, like, so I don't know. That's how I just think of it as this like alt retirement fund investment, I think, at least as of right now. But yeah, $200,000 Bitcoin might change my tune.
Yeah, I mean, and if I needed the money, like let's say I get in a car accident and I got crazy hospital bills, or someone gets sick or something, like, yeah, then I would sell some because it's the most valuable thing I own, but my life doesn't change. Like, I don't need Bitcoin to exist either. Like on one hand, it doesn't change my life to have the money, but it also doesn't change my life to lose it. My life loses future utility, but gains present utility.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been a show. We appreciate you guys.
This has been a show.
Listening to Davis and I talk through our stuff. I mean, the whole reason with these bets, and again, Adam and Bales and those guys have talked about it. It's just so motivating. I mean, we forced ourselves into a good routine that we normally wouldn't have done otherwise. And
yeah, I'd be fucking rewatching old episodes of Archer and YouTube videos before bed. And now I'm reading and meditating. It's a much stronger way to live.
And the other benefit we talked about, like forcing ourselves like through these hard stretches, being busy in NFL, like when things lighten up a little bit, like
it's going to feel great.
I'm going to read for longer, and I'm going to meditate for longer, and I'm going to be able to tap into that because we'll have built the good habits that we can then really lean into in the off season.
Hashtag Atomic Fits Habits.
Hashtag Atomic Fits Habits. If you didn't get that reference, it's because Laird did a book club with Ryan Fitzpatrick and then Davis.
We gotta get Laird in a meditation bet. We should ask him if he ever has.
Did you see how he kind of just casually did respond to us last time when we said we should do another pod?
He did? Oh, I didn't notice that.
No, well, you and me were both like, hey, we should do another one soon and talk about the team. And I don't think he ever responded to that one.
Dude, he's got his nose to the grindstone. They got a division to win.
I know. We gotta to talk to Patrick Laird after a Miami Dolphins playoff game. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Oh,
all right, guys.
To see it.
I believe Davis, where you're throwing this on your Patreon?
Yeah, but I'm gonna just make it free, but I'm gonna put it on the pay, like it'll be not behind a paywall. But
okay, cool. Yeah, and if you're watching this on my channel, I'm having Dean, aka DFS Almanac, on the Bankroll Challenge show tomorrow to talk GPP strategy. And other than that, like, subscribe. Blender's like desperately trying to get more YouTube subs than me. He's doing like giveaways every day. It's a really sad scene. So yeah, subscribe here. I might do a giveaway, Davis. I have an idea.
Oh my God. Yes. A giveaway.
I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking. I think I want to free roll someone in the spy next week.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. So I got to figure out like a good
way. What's your lean? The only the $200 spy this week. What's your lean?
Yeah. Well, like, part of me just wants to just keep going back, attacking the Jets, and just, I feel like no one's going to like play Goff, and just because there's so many other better quarterback plays. And I also like Russ. I like Russ again.
I'm going to do one Taysom, Michael Thomas with 2 Chiefs, and then I think one Goff team. because there's two $200 spies.
I did just see that Michael Thomas missed his second day of practice.
Oh shit!
So that could get
Taysom and Manny Sanders, Taysom and Traquan.
Yeah. Oh man, has anyone just been like on the bubble of relevance for longer than Traquan Smith?
He literally he just keeps having these 2 touchdown games and then disappears for a month. It's beautiful.
Yeah. All right, guys, this has been fun. We'll see you guys soon.